Hello everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. Today we're going to be making creamy, sweet roasted carrot soup. This is especially good as an appetizer before a meal, or it makes a delicious lunch. It's a very comforting soup, and it's packed full of nutrients and vitamins. You'll be surprised at how good this really is. Stay with me and let's make some. Take out a large pot and add 2 cups of baby carrots to it. And then we're putting in 3.5 cups of water. Turn the stove on high and let that start to come to a boil. Preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Slice and add half of a medium onion. Add 1 large clove of garlic, and you leave everything coarse because it's going to be blended anyways. Now add half a teaspoon of salt. This soup is quite easy to make because there is less chopping to do. And don't forget to add some freshly ground black pepper. And I start with about a half a teaspoon or so. We can add more salt and pepper later to taste if need be. So you'll let these carrots boil until they just start to become tender. So just partially cook them at this point. Now prepare a cookie sheet with extra virgin olive oil sprinkled all over it. We're going to be roasting our carrots on this. Take a small knife and I check the carrots and the clove of garlic to see if it's tender, and they are, so I'll turn it off and I'll spoon these over onto the cookie sheet. And I'll mix them up with a little bit more olive oil over top and a little bit of parsley sprinkled on it, and as you can see, even the onions are on this. I'm going to roast them all together. Save your vegetable broth because that's the base of your soup. I'll place your carrots into a 450 degree oven, place them onto the middle rack, and put your timer on for about 20 minutes. While the carrots are roasting, let's take the vegetable broth and add a few more things to it. Start with a half a teaspoon of lemon juice. Then measure half a teaspoon of cinnamon and add that to the broth. Yes, there's quite a concoction of spices and seasonings in this soup. All work nicely together to boost the flavor of the carrots. Now add 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. That helps to add a little bit of an earthy flavor. And add half a teaspoon of turmeric. It adds a little bit more orangey color, but also adds a little bit of a sweet sort of flavor. Then take your large spoon and stir all this together and get it to dissolve nicely. And I like to add 2 tablespoons of butter. This helps to make it creamy and a little bit more rich. And while the carrots are in the oven roasting, stir them once in a while to make sure that they roast evenly. And roasted carrots add an extra special flavor to your soup. It's worth taking the time to do it. Now once they're roasted nice and lightly browned, remove the carrots from the oven and place them into your blender. I just take and spoon them in there. So once I get all the carrots into the blender like this, then I just pour my vegetable broth in on top of it. Place the lid on the blender and push puree. And let this all blend together really well until there is no lumps whatsoever and it's completely smooth. The time for this may vary, but about a minute or 2. So it's time to stop the blender and check and see how it looks. It's actually blended quite well. It's very smooth and creamy, so I think we're ready to continue on with making our soup. So pour this back into the same pot that you took it out of. And I put it back on the stove to heat up again under a medium heat, stirring it frequently, and do a little taste test on it right about now. And add a little salt and pepper to suit your own taste. Now then, I add 2.5 tablespoons of brown sugar. This really helps to pop out the flavor of the carrots. And you don't want too much of a good thing, so 2.5 tablespoons is just about right in this. And I did the taste test several times to make sure that I wasn't putting too much. Now that the soup is nice and hot, pour it into some serving bowls. Now I'm using 2 large bowls, but the recipe makes 2 large bowls or 4 small. Now garnish your soup with a little bit of coconut milk or thick cream. Add a fresh sprig of cilantro. Or simply add some cilantro and decorate the top with some chopped basil. I prefer the coconut milk or thick cream. It just adds a little extra flavor as well. If you wanted to make this totally vegan, you would just omit the butter and the cream, but I like it just the way it is here. So go ahead and give this a try, guys. And until next time, happy eating!